My game room has changed quite a bit in 2024, and I think there could be more changes ahead. So I think now's the right time for a game room tour. So hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Thanks for pressing play once again. I'm the man they call Pixel Paul, and this is my game room. I'll say game room, it's more like a game space, but we'll call it a game room for the sake of this video. So yeah, there's been a lot of changes to this game room over the course of, well, since doing this. I started this channel in October 2023. I did do an early video of sort of like a game room tour video. I think it was my third video, and it was very basic, very bare bones. And I've added quite a lot to the game room over the sort of course of 2024 since then, and added loads of new games in there as well, a few new consoles as well. But yeah, I just thought with the potential for some changes to come over the next few months, now might be a good time to do a bit of a game room tour as it is at the moment. So no real structure to this. I'm just going to probably hit maybe each part of the game space and show you what's in there, and we'll see how it goes. So I think first off we will start with Nintendo Corner. So this is the Nintendo section of my game space, and I think we'll start down at the bottom and start with, so this is N64 and GameCube in here. Yeah, I don't have the huge amount of N64 games at the moment, but I have been collecting a few more recently. Same with GameCube actually. It's only recently where I've actually managed to sort of start to expand that collection a little bit. Latest one there is that PN03, so that's a newish addition to the collection. But hidden just behind here, if I can just do this one-handed, I do have a selection of NES games. You can just see them there at the back, and also my boxed, being very careful, boxed Game Boy games as well. It's not ideal, it's not how I'd like it. I'd like these to be more on show, but I am just a little bit limited on space at the moment. But yeah, there's some boxed NES games there, some of my oldest games, those ones, and the Game Boy games. Yeah, I'd like them to be a little bit more on show, but just at the moment space is at a little bit of a premium, so they're just sort of stacked in there like that at the moment. But it keeps them safe, keeps them away from the sunlight, and yeah, some decent games in there. Legend of Zelda on the Game Boy, Pro Protector as well. Double Dragon on the NES, that's a belting game, love that game. So yeah, that's the sort of more retro Nintendo stuff there. And speaking of retro, we've also got here my SNES games as well. So I've actually got sort of 3 stacks of SNES games here, all in box protectors, these ones. Some good ones again, Legend of Zelda, one of my favourites, Killer Instinct, which I picked up not too long ago, Zombies as well, that's a great game. And just there we've got Pro Protector, Castlevania, and then just on the other side, Super Smash TV. That's an amazing game on the SNES, love that one. And I've also got a few sort of like just bits of reading for gaming as well, so mainly Mass Effect trilogy player guides, which I picked up from a car boot sale a few months ago. A nice little jigsaw tin there as well, still unopened, but it looks really cool actually. Nice little tin with the NES sort of box art there. So yeah, that's the sort of SNES collection in there. So we'll move up, and we're looking now at my Wii U collection as well. So again, not a massive amount of Wii U games. I'm still sort of in the early days of collecting for the Wii U, but I've managed to pick up some decent ones. The Wii U handheld bit is just there, so I'll move that out of the way. Yeah, there's some Wii U games there. I've also got a Wii hooked up there too. Most of my consoles in this collection are hooked up. My PlayStation 5 is in the other room. So when I do this room tour, you'll notice that the PlayStation 5 isn't here. I might show you that quickly in a bit. So moving over onto the Wii, and yeah, I've got quite a lot of Wii games. So as you'll see, there's they're usually about 2 deep, especially these Wii games. I think behind here, these are some of the sort of bigger hitter kind of Wii games in this selection. Some of my favourite ones there: Dead Space Extraction, Muramasa, which I really love. That's an amazing game. Tatsunoko versus Capcom as well. And GoldenEye there. That's a really cheap game, but it's a decent game, that one, GoldenEye. So yeah, they do go back behind here as well, and I think there's some DS games stacked up there. DS games are so cheap to pick up these days, so I've got a fair few sort of DS games. And speaking of which, we'll move up to the next shelf, so you'll see some of those DS games just there. Let's move DK out of the way. One of my favourites there, Aliens Infestation. Love that game on the DS, brilliant game. And again, like I said, Wii games there, they're all kind of, at the moment, there's sort of there's a whole row of Wii games behind that as well. Again, I'd love to have them sort of shelved up properly and a bit more on display, but at the moment, can't be done, so this is the best I can do. 3DS there, console which I picked up this year, really enjoying playing on 3DS. It's a 2DS obviously. And then there is my original Game Boy. So that's the first console I ever had and played on. Still got it now, still the original Game Boy. The only thing that's different with it was I replaced the screen not that long ago. It really scratched the original, so yeah, nice new screen on that. I've also got a SNES Mini up there. Trying not to block the light too much, but yeah, SNES Mini there. Then moving over, more Wii games here, again sort of double stacked. There's no real order to them, but what you might notice is that, like on this side, I have all the Wii games with just a sort of plain text. And then that side, all these games have like more sort of colourful spines. It doesn't really make any sense. It's not in any order or anything like that, but that's just the way I roll and the way I like to organise it. Up top, I've got my sort of newly expanding 3DS selection of games there already. Got a fair amount of 3DS games. Really enjoying that console, like I said. Really decent little handheld with some amazing games. Star Fox 64, really enjoying that. And Batman Blackgate, Arkham Origins Blackgate, that's a good one too. And Ridge Racer at the end. So yeah, and Zelda as well. That's a really good, decent game. Let's pull that one out so you know which one I'm talking about. Link Between Worlds. That's an amazing Zelda game. Really under the radar, I think, and possibly a little bit underappreciated. I love that. I thought it was amazing. So that's pretty much the Nintendo part. Obviously, again, like I said about the PlayStation 5, our Nintendo Switch is in the front room. So I might show you that in a little bit as well. Just moving up on top of these shelves, so people who follow me on Instagram may recognize this little sort of camera angle, because I take quite a lot of my sort of Instagram shots on this bit of the games room. So you might recognize this kind of angle or viewpoint. But yeah, I take most of my, or a lot of my Instagram shots up here. I'm just going to put that down there. I've got my sparkly PlayStation lamp there, which was was it this Christmas? I think it was Christmas 2023. Bought that really, really cheap. They go for like $29.99, and I think I got that for about £8, something like that. So that was a bargain buy. I've also got an Xbox One over there, which I'll show you in a bit. And there's Bruce as well, who was named by Mrs. Pixel, and he holds my PSVR headset. It's like a headlamp type thing from IKEA. It just works with the PlayStation VR really well. So that was a nice little buy, actually. Again, Mrs. Pixel actually suggested that. And yeah, I think it works really well. It's just somewhere to keep it safe. But it's also kind of quite sort of functional as well. So moving across the room now, we're going to look at the Xbox corner, which is one of the bits that's really sort of expanded from when I did the first video. I didn't have those shelves there, so they've been added in. I think they were just after Christmas again this year. I needed somewhere else to put my Xbox 360 games because the collection was really getting a little bit too big to go into these shelves here. So they got their own shelves, and yeah, that's a collection which is, I'd say, slightly slowed down recently just because of how expensive the Xbox 360 games have become. But thankfully, I've sort of managed to pick up most of the Xbox 360 games that I think I wanted to get. If I go along slightly, there's Ridge Racer 6 there, which was a 360 exclusive. Really like that. Spec Ops: The Line, which is a game that's gone up in price, we know, recently. Those two Dark Souls games, I got those for 50p each on a car boot sale. They were fine. Moving down the shelf. Again, there's no real order to how I put these games on the shelves. Sometimes I tend to do it in like colour. So you can see up there, there's like white, a bit more sort of colourful spines, and here it's sort of darker spines. So there's no real reason for it. And occasionally I do sort of mix it up and change it around just to keep it fresh. And the third shelf of Xbox 360, a lot of these are kind of RPG, JRPGs, fantasy games, and some of the sort of more bigger collections, so like Gears of War, some of my Call of Duty games are there. Let's move the plant. Don't really know why I have a plant in here. I'm not particularly green fingered, but yeah, there it is. So yeah, all the Halo games are there as well. But mostly on this shelf, it's all RPGs and fantasy games. That's my second Xbox 360 that I picked up as a bit of a backup. Not really had to use it as yet, but I got that from a charity shop. Can't remember how much I paid for it, but it wasn't a lot. Needed a bit of a clean, but it looks really clean and crisp now, and it still works. No red ring of death on that. I've also got some of my Xbox 360 overspill down here. Again, no real rhyme or reason for why these are here, just that's where I put them. And then, like I said before, that's my Xbox 360 sparkle lamp. Don't really know what they're actually called, to be honest, but yeah, again, looks really cool, and you see these usually in the background of my other YouTube videos, so yeah, like that. Moving down, so next up we've got Xbox original games. Again, these are now 3 deep. All my sort of Xbox original games are in this little section of this shelf, but it is 3 deep at the moment, so they go back behind there as well. But I've managed to get some decent Xbox games. One of my faves there, Freedom Fighters, love that. Oh, it's still got a sticky marker on that, sticky label. And one of my favourite games ever as well, Half-Life 2, brilliant game. And I've also got my only Xbox original Steelbook, Halo 2, limited collector's edition, love that, it's really nice. So yeah, that's the original Xbox. Moving over to the next shelf is the, oh no, that's better, Xbox One. So again, I've only been collecting for the Xbox One a short-ish while, but I've managed to pick up a fair whack of games now for this. Originally, I was only going to sort of collect maybe like the Xbox One exclusives, but given how cheap they've sort of become over the last, I'd say last 8 months perhaps, it's been worth picking up some of the other ones as well. Managed to get some decent sort of special editions there. That Like a Dragon Steelbook, that was really cheap in game. So yeah, there's some really decent games at decent prices for the Xbox One, and it's, yeah, I quite enjoyed sort of collecting for that. And there's some real sort of, I don't want to say hidden gems, but games that maybe I wasn't quite aware of. That Recore, for example, that's a decent game. Rise as well, Son of Rome, that's an amazing game. Of course, I've got another copy of Mass Effect Legendary Edition there. I just had to pick that up as well, because I do love Mass Effect. And moving down, I've got more Xbox 360 here. These are all my 360 steelbooks. I think I've got more steelbooks for PlayStation than I have for 360, but that's what I've got. That's a nice one. Lightning Returns, Final Fantasy 13. And that's one of my favourites, actually. Aliens vs Predator, that's a really good steelbook. And then just behind there, I've got sort of bigger box editions of certain games, so Mass Effect's in there and Gears of War. And then I've got my original Xbox 360 there still hooked up. And again, that still works just about, although the disk drive is a little bit twitchy these days. So this isn't just Xbox. I do have in this little corner here my Mega Drive collection. So yeah, not the biggest Mega Drive collection. Having said that, I've probably got more Mega Drive games than I've got SNES games at the moment. But yeah, there's some really nice games in here that I really love. Chaos Engine being one of them. Love that game. Speedball 2 as well. Absolute classic. That's my Sonic All-Stars Basketball, which I was given for free at car boot sale. Robocop vs Terminator there. You'll see me pick that up in a video recently. Just to show you, they clean up really well. Looks really nice now. Got that for a really decent price. And then just a few of my other Mega Drive games there as well. Now behind there you can see DVD boxes. I will try and show you quickly what they are. Again, this goes back to my Instagram account, where I used to do every Saturday night like a little post about video game movies. And I'm going to struggle to get these out, but yeah, so this is a bit of a collection of, I'll just turn these around then you get an idea. Collection of video game movies. So we've got Assassin's Creed there, Double Dragon, Dead or Alive, Tomb Raider, Doom, Mario Brothers, Street Fighter, Hitman, and they all go, there's loads more down there as well, a few there. So yeah, I used to do that. I kind of retired that bit off my Instagram a few months ago, mainly because I was running out of video game movies to show, but possibly that's something I might do on my YouTube account at some point. Maybe do, I don't know, like reviews of video game movies perhaps, or something like that. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. It would be interesting. Just quickly, I'll show you on the wall as well some of the pictures that I've got hung up. These are all from car boot sales actually. So I've got my Horizon Zero Dawn frame picture there, a Zelda one, and Assassin's Creed there. So yeah, they were all from car boot sales, those 3 pictures. Really nice additions to the games room. So we're moving on to the last part of the game space, and this is the PlayStation section. And this is the bit that probably dominates most of the room. Well, I have got to say, I am probably a bit of a PlayStation boy. Yeah, it's the bit that I've been collecting for the most. We'll start down here. So first of all, the 4 PlayStation consoles, they're all hooked up, good to go. Which is my favourite of those? Oof. Possibly PlayStation 2, I'd say. But yeah, they're all hooked up. They're all my original sort of consoles as well, apart from the PlayStation 3, which I did actually get. That's my second PlayStation 3. So I used to have a big chunky one. They were the original PlayStation 3 model. So I picked that one up about 2.5 years ago, something like that, when I started collecting for PlayStation 3 again. Yeah, they're the consoles, all good to go. Down here, we've got the PSP games. Again, they go all the way back. They're a couple deep, actually, the PSP games. And my small collection of PS Vita as well, which is another handheld which I've really enjoyed collecting for this year. Really love the PS Vita. Moving up, PlayStation 1 games. Now again, can't really see there, but they go 3 back. It's not ideal. I'd really prefer to be able to put these out on the shelf properly, but I've just not got enough room at the moment, so these have kind of been shoved a little bit into what space I've got. Ideally, yeah, I'd love to have these a bit more about and display, but it is what it is at the moment. Part of the rethink that I'm having to have with this room, I think. So moving up, that's the TV that I use at the moment. That's Mass Effect 2 playing on there at the moment. My favourite game of all time. Walking into that Omega station and the Afterlife Club, just one of the sort of, I don't want to say core memories, but it's just one of the moments where I absolutely fell in love with this game. Just a weird sort of alien atmosphere in here, and yeah, just loved it. TV's nothing special, just an old sort of Toshiba. Not sure what size it is, but it is one of the things that I'm sort of thinking about possibly changing. I do mostly sort of play a lot of I do play the retro consoles through here, which isn't ideal. Obviously you want to play it through a CRT TV, but I don't have one at the moment. I do tend to play mostly PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 on this. So it does the job okay, but I think maybe this TV's starting to, I don't know, look its age, feel its age. So it's something that I am thinking about maybe replacing at some point. Anyway, let's move on to the games. Now, PlayStation 2, which is, PlayStation 2 is the one that I've got the most games for. Couldn't give you a number at the moment, but there is that shelf there, and then behind the TV it goes all the way back. Oh, I should have dusted before I did this, but never mind. Yeah, it goes all the way down there, 3 sort of rows. There are actually games kind of tucked in behind those stacks as well. I don't want to put a number on how many I've got there, possibly about 200, something like that. I do tend to go for games that I want and I want to play, or I know are half decent. Don't tend to go for every single PlayStation game or anything like that. That's not the way I collect. I just prefer to go for games that I am actually going to play, get at a reasonable price. That's not to say I don't pick up the odd dodgy game perhaps, but in general I do like to pick up decent sort of games rather than just filler. These are probably my more sort of favourite games on this shelf. Beyond Good and Evil there, amazing game. I always talk about this game a lot. Apparently there's a remaster on the way. Hopefully it'll be decent. I'm sure we'll get that quicker than we'll get the sequel anyway. Some collections there: Gran Turismo, Time Splitters, Prince of Persia, Final Fantasy, Devil May Cry. A few sort of hidden gems in this bit as well. The Red Star, that's a really amazing game. Gradius 5, love that game too. Second Sight, that's underrated gem as well. God of War, that's a classic. Soul Reaver 2 as well. That's a game that could do with a remaster. That'd be good. And then over here, again, sort of collections: Need for Speed, GTA, Metal Gear, Jak and Daxter, and some more Need for Speed. They're out of order. And then a few other extra ones there: Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, Legend, of course. Yeah, PlayStation 2. That's what's taking up most of the room. Possibly could do with a bit of a clear out of PS2 games, maybe, or maybe just boxing some of these up and putting them in the loft. Not sure yet. But yeah, PS2, do like collecting for it. Still relatively cheap to pick up games, but they are going up in price. The next up is PlayStation 3. And for a long time, PlayStation 3 was what I was kind of concentrating on collecting. Again, they were sort of relatively cheap when I started collecting again. And it was just a console that I'd not had much time with originally because I was always playing 360. So it was nice to start sort of collecting for the PlayStation 3 again. But yeah, it's just an amazing console, amazing generation really. Some real sort of hidden gems. Last kind of era for me of sort of real kind of innovation and new ideas coming out. You want a hidden gem? Oh, if I can get it out. Let's pull that one out. Ajin and the Forsaken Kingdom. That's a brilliant game. Again, you might recognise this sort of bit or these shelves from my Instagram account because I do take a lot of pictures around here. I'm just going to get a step because I'm only small and I can't reach up here. So I'm just going to move up here. So there I've got my PlayStation Vita, just plonk you there, and my PlayStation Portable, PSP. Another set of lights there. I managed to get those from B&M years ago, and they were selling them off for like £2, something like that. So I think I've got about 3 or 4 of them. Now another row of PlayStation 3. So you notice here I've got all my black label PlayStation 3 games, and these are all my red label PlayStation 3 games. So again, some really decent games on the PlayStation 3. Mirror's Edge, one of my favourites there. And then up on the top shelf, I've got special editions and steelbooks. That Gran Turismo 6 Anniversary Edition, that's a really nice steelbook. I won't pull it out though. And then again, sort of collections up here as well. Call of Duties, Assassin's Creeds, which there's loads of. And then that Last of Us Part 2 Special Edition there. Uncharted, that nice Infamous Special Edition as well. And then just some of the sort of PlayStation 2 collector's special editions, Ico and Shadow of Colossus, absolute classics. And then my sort of big box PlayStation 3 games that are there. That was a nice pickup. Got that relatively cheap. I love that. And then right on the top shelf, I've got PlayStation 4 Steelbooks. That's a nice steelbook, that Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age. And yeah, Psychonauts 2. What a game that is. Brilliant game. And a little light up there. I'll turn it on. Can I reach? Yay. Again, that was a really nice cheap buy a few years ago. I think that was from Sainsbury's or somewhere like that after Christmas. They were selling it off dead cheap. A couple of quid. Nice little light, that. So then finally, we'll move on to, I'll just move the step. PlayStation 4. So down here, I've got what is the start of my PlayStation VR. Right, Bruce? PlayStation VR games. Only played a few of them at the moment. I'm sort of taking my time going through them, but Astrobot is amazing. Farpoint's alright, and I've just started playing Iron Man VR, and I'm really enjoying that. There's some really obscure games in the PSVR library. At Groundhog Day, I think I did it on the video a couple of weeks ago. I never would have imagined a game based on Groundhog Day. Never would have thought it would be a VR game. So yeah, looking forward to playing that. So that's the PlayStation VR section, if you like. And then lastly is my PS4 collection as well. Now this has expanded over the last month or two, mainly because of the 50% off sale in game. I've picked up quite a few PlayStation 4 games recently, and they go all the way down. I think I've got one spare shelf at the bottom. This PlayStation lamp is in the way, so I'm just going to move that. It's really heavy. Call of Duty's there. So again, there's no real sort of organization to how I put these in, but they're all like white spine games, if you like, and then dark spines here and more white spines. I don't know. I just like to put them in whatever. Usually the ones I'm gonna play or have to play. And some random ones at the bottom. We've got one spare shelf there. Look at that space. So yeah, that's my PlayStation 4 collection at the moment. Like I say, that's expanding at the moment because of the game sale. Yeah, nice to get some PlayStation 4 games in because it was never when it was out, the console, when it was sort of in its prime, I didn't have a massive selection of PlayStation 4 games, mainly because I used to tend to trade them in. I used to play games and then trade them in for the next one. Never really sort of kept hold of them. It's only now I've really been able to sort of expand the collection and keep hold of some of these games. I'm just going to move that back in there. So that's the last piece of my games room. That's my PlayStation bubble lamp, which makes it a bit of a racket, if I'm honest. It's not so bad when you play in here and you've got headphones on, but when it's on and you haven't got anything else on, it's quite loud, so I'm not going to put that on right now. But that is pretty much it. That is the game space in this room. It's got bigger over the last few months, certainly over the last year. It's just expanded. The number of games I've bought, but bought at a reasonable price as well. So I am really happy with it. I just need more room. So as I mentioned before, I'll just show you quickly, sort of, just to complete the collection. I'll show you where my sort of main console is, which is at the moment PlayStation 5. Keep that there. All my PS5 games are here. Quite a decent collection of PS5 games already at the moment. And I am getting through that backlog. Don't forget to check out my Project PlayStation 5 videos. I am working through that backlog now. Getting there. That's one of my faves there. Horizon 2 Forbidden West. Love that game. But yeah, PS5. I don't want to say it's been a disappointing console. It's had its moments, but you're just not sure how many more games are coming out for it in this generation. Not sure, but certainly still got enough to play through at the moment. Just down there, I've got my Xbox One. I am on Game Pass, so I mostly use that for sort of Game Pass and playing on that. So that's in there. Got my Wii U in there. Do tend to play the Wii U quite a bit in here. If I play Wii games, I usually use the Wii U to play them. And there we've got the Switch games. I'm not sure where the Switch is at the moment. I think it might be upstairs in Pixel Junior's room. That's our Switch collection at the moment. Again, not massive. And most of them are, to be honest, Pixel Junior's choice. There's a few that are mine. Metroid Prime Remastered, that's one of mine. But in general, he tends to play the Switch most. So yeah, that's the front room. And that was the game room tour as of June 2024. So yeah, huge difference really from that original video that I did back in, I want to say around October 2023. Mainly in sort of games that I bought and the amount of games that are in here now. Obviously there's a few sort of new additions like with the new shelves and that, but yeah, it's really sort of grown arms and legs since that video, as has this channel hopefully. So I'm hoping this video was a little bit better than that video, because that video was probably very raw, very green. I was very new to doing YouTube videos at that point. Relatively speaking, I kind of still am, and still finding my feet. But yeah, enjoyed doing that. Hope you liked it as well. Possible changes on the way with the game room or the game space. I am going to have to rearrange and have a think about how I fit games in here, and whether I need some new furniture. That's under negotiation with Mrs. Pixel, so we'll see how that goes. But anyway, as ever, thanks for watching. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, if you can hit the subscription button, that would be very much appreciated. And I will see you for the next video.